Oh, I hate Mahomes. I just I'm gonna have to hate him for another 20 years, I think. So no, I mean he showed some grit, obviously, fighting through the pain. I mean, I think very few quarterbacks could have gone through what he did.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is our cavalcade of stars. We'll just get the Giants out of the way. Mike King, how are you? And thank you for joining us on such a bitter day. I hope you're well. Quite the oops.
Middle school basketball win today. The Giant games in the past. We're 1-0 right
now. Anyway. With us also is Chris Shar. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. And don't worry, Mike. Hey, the Giants made the playoffs. The Raiders did not.
Also joining us is our captain for life, Will Cotton. Will, how are you?
Doing great. Great weekend.
Yes, and sliding in at halftime is our favorite administrator, Robert Abney. Robert, how are you today, man?
As always, sir, I am living the dream, baby.
Wonderful to hear. So in segment one, we're going to do a game recap. And the funny thing, fans, you know how we tape Sunday, so we try to time it at halftime, and San Francisco helped us out by going up. So let's just get at it. Jacksonville versus Kansas City. So really quickly, Kansas City has flaws. They risk playing Mahomes. I've had players with ankle injuries, and he has a high ankle sprain. So I just was a little worried about that. And in terms of Jacksonville, man, if they stay focused and drama-free, they got a shot. And Urban, you suck. Really bad. Will Cotton, what's your thoughts on the Kansas City-Jacksonville game?
Oh, man, I still think, everything that I guarantee was going to happen happened. KC won. At the end of the day, Mahomes is just one of the formula. They also have a really great defensive line, and they have a pretty good to middle to secondary that's really good. So, Mahomes got hurt. They stepped up. They stopped it. They made it difficult for Trevor Lawrence. That's what good teams do. And, I think that team could go far with, a backup. But this team is going to go far. So I think no worries. I think just the slow kind of injury in the beginning kind of messed up them. But I think once Mahomes is back and the defense is back on, I think it's all cylinders. Let's go.
All right, Robert, what do you think about the game, Jacksonville, Kansas City?
Well, I mean, the story of the game is Mahomes rolling his ankle. And, Cincinnati has had his number. They've had the Chiefs' number. And him not being 100% for that game, that's going to be a big deal, I think.
All right, we'll delve deeper into that in segment 3. Mr. King, how are you, man? What do you think about the Kansas City-Jacksonville game?
I mean, just put another chapter in the Mahomes book of greatness. It was just he fought through it. I mean, that was painful. It's probably 3 times the size today that it was yesterday. But I don't know. We'll talk segment 3. We'll get to it. But for yesterday, for week 2, that was superstar stuff.
Okay, Chris, what do you think?
Oh, I hate Mahomes. I'm gonna have to hate him for another 20 years, I think. So no, I mean he showed some grit. Obviously, fighting through the pain. I mean, I think very few quarterbacks could have gone through what he did and then performed as well as he did. I know he really wanted to be in the game, so they gave him some kind of shot and he made it in, and he's going to get another shot before the Cincinnati game and probably again at halftime. And so we'll see what happens this time. And, I hate both Burrows and Mahomes, and I do. Come on, Mike. I hate these guys. And they're just cocky. They're just both cocky. And if they were Raiders, then I would love them. But they're not Raiders. And they're cocky as hell. And I hate them both.
All right. So begrudgingly, my friend, we're going to go Giants-Eagles. Eagles looked very good, but they gave me pause because when Coach Nick Sirianni starts comparing Jalen Hurts to Michael Jordan in a game that, quite frankly, they should have won anyway, that's when I say, okay, slow down. But again, say what you want about the Giants, they're on house money. So, Mike, what did you think about the game?
It was watch their replacements. It was quicksand, and the first and the last game we played the Eagles were the same thing. It was just we had two good drives that stalled out, and they go down and score, and then one mistake and one mistake and one mistake. It's a loaded team. They've got no cap space, and like half the team's free agents. So they went all in, and it shows. Their backup defensive line would start, on some of these playoff teams, like the whole group of four. They are completely loaded. So they better win this year because they got to pay Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and both running backs and the tackle and the corner and the this and the that. I mean, the team's good. Hopefully they play San Francisco, because if they play Dallas, I don't know if I could watch. I'd root for Dallas because I hate Philly. Philly is the worst place in the world to me. Not just because of
The
football.
opinions expressed do not necessarily represent our management company.
Not just the football, the people, just the people, the food. It's all bad. Just all bad. But the team's good, and unlike the Mahomes take and the Burrow take, I respect greatness. The team's great. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is great. I think he's very good, and the team around him is very good. I think any of us up here could probably be quarterback and put up at least 7 points, at least as many as the Giants have.
All right, Robert, what did you think about the Giants-Eagles game, sir?
So Chris, don't hate the player, hate the game, man. So, as far as Burrows and Mahomes, Giants were playing with house money.
I'm not mad at them.
and clearly they if you want to make it a blackjack reference, they hit on 16, and
we're all degenerates. Okay.
Good point.
All right, Chris, what did you think, man?
Well, I think the Giants did a hell of a season. I mean, they did. They just ran into the buzzsaw. The Eagles are just too strong. And I think that even though I was a naysayer about the Eagles all year long, I guess they're going to make it into they made it into the championship. They'll probably make it into the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is the week I want Bobby in it. Will, what did you think about the Eagles-Giants game?
The only one who lost was me, because I ended up watching a really bad movie. So after 21, I said, let me watch a movie. Watched some movie on Netflix, and it was terrible. It was ranked number 1 and fell asleep.
All right. So, Will, I'm going to stay with you, and no, we're not going to ask what the movie is. The Bengals-Bills. So, one, in true Odd Coaches podcast fashion, I'd like to apologize to the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals, because I doubted you. I was quite wrong about you, and you dominated. The Bills looked bad. I think the weather played a factor. And somebody tell Diggs to calm down, Doug. Shh, that's not good. So, Will, I'm going to stay with you. What did you think about the Bengals and the Bills, man?
I'm going to take a different story. I think the Bills, for the last maybe months or so, they were looking for that energy from Damar Hamlin. I think they were really looking for that boost that they needed, that energy, that love that they wanted from him, and it never came. Every day, every game after they played Hamlin, it was like, the energy is not there. It's not there. It's not there. When they played Miami, it wasn't there. Even when they played the Jets, I'm sorry, the New England, when they played the Patriots, everyone's like, oh, they're playing for Hamlin. They're coming out. They're going to blow them out. It was a win. And this team was looking for something that needed to kind of boost them into the Super Bowl, and it just never happened. And then they got caught with the snow, and they realized they don't have a really good running back.
No, Josh Allen's their running back.
So, it wasn't strong enough for them to make the Super Bowl. And again, if it was something that Hamlin was giving them, like the spirit of them or the energy, I was going to ride that story. But they never got it. They kind of bought into that, and they got what they got. So that's my take.
All right, Mike, what did you think of it?
I think when you do quarterback tiers, Joe Burrow he's going higher and higher, and I love him. I mean, when they said something about being an underdog, and he was like, "I'm never an underdog. I'm Joe Burrow." Like, underdog?
Oh, good.
That's good stuff. Because when you say it and you go out and do it, that's when I'm like, I can't be mad at you. You said it, you went out and you did it. I also kind of selfishly was happy. I like Josh Allen, but I was happy that he had a Daniel Jones stat line from yesterday. Made the sting a tiny bit less, because it's like the Dable factor's real. We're gonna be fine, whether it's Daniel Jones or someone else. That's the segment. That's the last thing though. But for this game, it's Joe Burrow. God, he's so good. Now he's got He's got great receivers. But boy, when you have that much confidence and you do it, I think that's the group I'm pulling for.
All right, Chris, what do you think, sir?
Oh my God. Okay. So they had the snow, they had the number 3, they had all the emotion going into this thing, and then bleh,
No.
they just fell apart. Cincinnati was too much for them. Buffalo is probably going to fire somebody. They're probably going to try to draft a hell of a lot of people, something like that, some massive change, and they don't really need to change anything. They just need to keep plugging along, and eventually people will start making mistakes on the other side.
And Robert, what did you think about the Buffalo game and their tanking?
Well, I mean, first of all, Joe Burrow, I mean, it ain't bragging if you can back it up, right? I mean,
It's
he's
still cocky.
you can be cocky. It ain't bragging if you can back it up.
You can't be cocky unless you're a Raider.
I thought, to me, the Bills looked emotionally exhausted.
Oh,
Like
that's an admin right there.
Looked like they were just kind of they kind of kept going back to the well, and Will kind of talked about this. They kind of kept going back to the well for something from Damar Hamlin from number 3, and today it just won there. And Cincinnati's good. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if they beat Kansas City next week, go back to Super Bowl. Wouldn't surprise me if they win the Super Bowl. But I thought Buffalo they just looked done, and not having a running back to hand off to in the snow, that's not helpful. But they just looked tired. They just looked done.
How does that home advantage if you have snow? It's your home. Like that's supposed to be your advantage. So now they're gonna talk about the stadium putting a roof on the joint.
Ain't nobody trying to play in the snow,
Draft the
man.
team.
This is a different day, man. Different age.
You draft a team based on the weather. How are they not prepared for snow?
Not touching it.
And also, they were supposed to be in on trying to trade for C-Mac and Barkley, and they did nothing, and they bit them.
Well, fans, as you know, we tape Sunday, and the current game going on as everybody's got a TV on, Dallas and San Francisco. I think there's too much talk about the kicker, and not enough about the game, and see what happens with that. But now we make the predictions. So, Cotton Man, Dallas or San Francisco, sir?
Man, I'm still going with Dallas, man.
All right. Still going with Dallas. Robert, Dallas or San Francisco?
Well, I thought it was kind of telling there at the end of the first half that Dallas chose not to try to kick a field goal with a guy who clearly is struggling with confidence, and then San Francisco goes down and kicks a field goal to go ahead. So I'll take the Niners.
Okay, Mike, what you got, buddy?
Everyone wants to talk about a kicker problem, but they got a quarterback who keeps throwing interceptions. So
4th round draft pick.
I mean, so if you don't
4th round draft picks, throw interceptions. What are you
you know
talking
those 2 interceptions in the first half, you're probably winning by 2 touchdowns at the moment. So they got 2 problems on their hands. I'm going for San Francisco, not because I have any conviction, but I just can't live in a world where I have to deal with the Dallas-Philadelphia NFC Championship. It would be the worst thing. It's the worst possible scenario any year. So yeah, can't have it.
All right, and Chris, in the segment, sir. Dallas or San
Okay,
Francisco?
so either you have a guy that throws interceptions or you have a guy that's drafted last, right? So I'm going with the guy that was drafted last. I'm
All
going.
right,
with
San Francisco. All right, fans. I think San Francisco is going to win too, and we'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, we're going to talk about some coaching moves. And the Carolina Panthers, gentlemen, got in trouble. Carolina Panthers are in violation of the NFL rule regarding their search for a permanent head coach, according to multiple news sources. A league executive called the Panthers to remind them that all members of its search committee were to complete mandatory inclusive hiring training before beginning the search. Very similar to the school system where you've got to take a whole bunch of assessments and a whole bunch of trainings before you can talk to kids and be in their presence. So they didn't do that. Hopefully they've corrected that. And let me give you some more information. On December 2nd, the league sent out a memo. It's always a memo to all teams and including chief executives, club presidents, head coaches, general managers. And near the top of it, it said, you got to do this. And people still don't read their emails. So, Robert, being the administrator, I'd like your thoughts on how Carolina blew just the paperwork in terms of how you're supposed to do this.
Can
you see this happening?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I can absolutely see it happening. And at the same time, I don't understand, the rules are set out and it's kind of like, when you already referenced it, when you work in a school, there are all these trainings that you have to do online. And I'm sure this training is online. And it's like, okay, y'all are on the search committee, go do the training. That's it. And I don't understand how they managed to screw that up. And all that being said, I don't even know who they're after. I don't think Sean Payton will go there. I think he's more likely to go to Denver. I think he thinks that's probably a better job. Plus, it'll cost the Panthers more for him to go to Carolina than it would outside their division. So,
all right. So we're going to run through some of the openings and get our panel's thoughts. The Tampa Bay Bucks fired Byron Leftwich as a part of an overhaul that includes 8 other coaches leaving the staff. Should have fired Tom Brady. Anyway, the decision to fire Leftwich after 4 seasons as the team's offensive play caller was part of the first major personnel moves by Todd Bowles. The Bucks went 8-9. They won the NFC South, but fell well short of their expectations. Not a fan of this move. I mean, if you got to go, got to go. Will, what did you think about them firing Byron Leftwich? And I guess he's taking the heat for it.
Well, the 2 things they're going to do is by firing Leftwich, they've already had a scapegoat. So then the second thing they're going to have is now they're going to let Todd Bowles be the coach for the next 2 years. So that's going to be the guy who falls on the sword. Oh, where our team is bad is because of Todd Bowles. If it's, if we're not winning, go to the playoffs, it's Todd Bowles. So they have 2 coaches now who helped them win a Super Bowl, are not kind of throwing them to the wolves like, well, we don't really want to say that we messed up with Tom Brady. So blame the 2 black guys and their careers, and let them be the scapegoats for it. It's unfortunate. It's bad business because at the same time, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, he was able to separate. They agreed to departing. And I'm like, well, why did Leftwich got fired and he won the Super Bowl, and the OC from Baltimore was, let go for, we agreed to leave him go. It's BS. It's terrible. It goes back into the Rooney Rule. If I was going to rule it, I would say, if you're going to start any sort of processes with NF coaches to only the access to the portal, you have to go through the training. If you can't go through the portal, then that means you didn't pass the training, which means you didn't go in it. And if you pass it, means you know it. So if you violate it, that also makes you even more trouble. So I think that's what they should do.
All right. Well, you segued very well. We do talk about the Ravens, and Greg Roman did decide to step away as the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator amid a lot of fan outrage and player frustration. He had 1 year remaining on his deal, which was believed to be a team option. Again, the Ravens run a unique offense around a unique quarterback. Mike King, what did you think about that move? And does that mean, in your opinion, does Lamar come back, or now is it easier to get rid of him now that you got rid of the OC?
There was blood in the water. The fans wanted him gone, so he didn't have a chance. Last year, they wanted to blame Wink Martindale when the whole defense was hurt. This year, they want to blame Greg Roman when the whole offense is hurt. Like your offense is built around one person. That person's not there, and then you're mad you lose. And you almost beat the Bengals, if not for the QB trying to dive from the 2 and he couldn't. Otherwise, you would have beat the Bengals, the same Bengals that just destroyed Buffalo. But your offensive coordinator is not good enough with the backup quarterback when, again, the Ravens are a one-man show. I think when the coach just keeps blaming everyone else, eventually you got to kind of maybe look inward. Maybe it's you, buddy.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
How can you be in the search for the OC, but you don't have a contract? Like Baltimore's like, oh, we're bringing him in. He's going to look at the decision for the OC. And I'm like, he's not in contract. Why would he be in that meeting? He could pick a person and be like, pick that guy. And then he'd be like, well, I ain't going to go here. So
I'm not signing the franchise. Yeah.
so weird. Not my business. They pay
All
him.
right.
We got a field goal. We got a field goal.
Fans, yes, if you hear laughter as I talk about the Dolphins, we are at the point where the kicker, who I said we talked too much about, is about to kick a field goal. But I'm going to set up the Dolphins, and Chris, try to keep 2 eyes somewhere near us. The Dolphins fired defensive coordinator Josh Boyer after 4 seasons with the franchise, the last 3 as the defensive coordinator. Now, of course, they have Brian Flores, who was, a defensive guy. Told you this is too much talk about a kicker, by the way. He made it clean. Keep it moving. Too much. Hey, real quick side note about this kicker thing. Robert, we're in education. We often have to work with teachers who underperform based on a lack of skills, lack of experience, or just whatever. And we pump them up and we get them through. And that's what Dallas should have done. And they ended up bringing in people. But I digress.
Hey, the broken clock is right twice a day.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
So, Chris, really quick, Dolphins sustained a lot of injuries this season, including cornerbacks Byron Jones, Nick Needham. They lost their safety. They lost their defensive end. They traded for Bradley Chubbs, and they still fired the guy. What do you think about the Dolphins making that move?
All these teams are firing the wrong people. Hey, I mean, like, seriously, the defensive coordinator is the problem with the Dolphins? No. Okay. You had a quarterback that just kept getting concussions, right? And that's really the bottom line, right? You don't have a backup quarterback that could really go in there and cover for him when he needed to stay out, right? So he kept getting hurt, and you just lost. You lost. So why do all these people think they have to start clean and fresh when they had a solid team? Just keep going with the same people.
Well,
I don't understand.
Well, and the worst kept secret to close this segment, the Minnesota Vikings fired their defensive coordinator Ed Donatel. The team did not immediately name a replacement. In a statement, they said, "We will immediately begin our search for this critical role." Although they won the second most regular season games in team history, the Vikings defense was one of the worst in franchise history, ranked 28 in points allowed. They gave up 25 points a game and 31 in yards allowed. They gave up over 388 yards a game. This guy only was there for a year, though. So our Vikings aficionado, Chris, we're going to go back to you, sir.
Nobody
What do you think
wants
about
this
this
job.
move?
Nobody wants this job. Maybe they can give it to Jeff Saturday. Maybe he'll do it.
He's not a drinking buddy with him.
Oh, come
Robert,
go Minnesota. Go Minnesota. Yeah.
you watched the Vikings too. Guy had the job for 1 year. Is that too quick a hook, or what would you do in that situation?
So I know you've heard this. There's an old coaching saying, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. He didn't have a whole lot of chicken to work with.
Okay. Okay. Well, on that note, because I ain't no fan of the Vikings, whatever. We're going to take a break, come back and have predictions. It's hard to make a prediction on that NFC one because it's tied up, unlike the other games, which you kind of had an idea of. But we'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 3. We're going to do championship preview. We're going to start off obviously with the AFC because we know that it will be Cincinnati versus Kansas City, and the game will be at Kansas City, so it's not the neutral site. But our thought is it's not a rivalry if only one team's winning. High ankle sprains are not good. Believe me, I lost the state championship because of one. And Patrick Mahomes, for all his hubbub, he's been in 5 straight championship games and got 1 title. So I ain't sweating it, okay? So Will, help me out, man. What do you think is going to happen with Cincinnati, Kansas City?
Burrow is going to win.
Burrow's going to win.
There's nothing to bet. I can't bet against Joe Burrow. That's like spitting in the wind or tugging, Superman's cape. Like
all right, Jim Croce.
So
you got Bengals. Chris, what about you, sir?
The ankle's too much. Thank goodness they're not playing in Atlanta because that place was burning down last night. And so I say Cincinnati goes to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Mr. King, what about you, sir?
2 best quarterbacks in football. One's got 2 legs, and he might even be better. I don't know. I'm a Burrow guy.
What about the line, though? Got to think about the line.
Money line.
Kansas City,
Cincinnati money line.
Okay, so
it doesn't matter because Mixon can catch out the backfield.
All
so
right.
they don't even really need to West Coast offense.
And they've got 3 receivers. They got the running back who can catch the tight end. They're loaded.
catching in. Like Hurst is balling right now. Like
And Kansas City always looks too far ahead. They always just think that they're going to win all the time. So no, it doesn't matter what Cincinnati's offensive line looks like.
Like
And
Joe
Andy
Burrow
Reid.
said, I'm not an underdog. I'm Joe Burrow. Not an
And Big Red has lost a lot of championship games. Robert, you're my administrator. What do you think, man?
Well, so the line right now is Kansas City plus 1.5 at home.
It's already out. Wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think that's enough. I think Joe Burrow on 2 legs is way better than Patrick Mahomes on 1 leg. And that unless that there's some miraculous way to heal a high ankle sprain, like some magic in Patrick Mahomes bath bombs or something like that, unless he's got something like that going on, I don't think it'll be close.
I think he's better than Mahomes when Mahomes has 2 legs.
Yeah, I got on my initial spread Cincinnati plus 1.5. Will we? And the over under is 47.5 again, strictly for entertainment purposes only. Will, you gonna put anything down on that?
yeah, but I'll see how it moves. You know?
Yes. So fans, for its and giggles, I got San Francisco winning. So all I'm going to do is around the horn, regardless of who wins this game. Will it be the Eagles or the field? Chris, Eagles or the field?
Oh God. This game right here makes me want to think the Eagles will beat whoever comes out of it. But I think if 49ers come out of this game as the winner, the 49ers will go to the Super Bowl.
Would you play Jimmy G if he's available?
I would
Okay.
not.
All right. Mr. King, Eagles or the field?
I'm the same. Eagles beat the Cowboys, but the 49ers and Eagles is a game. So if
All
I'm
right.
taking the field, I guess I'd go Eagles, but I think that one's more of a toss-up.
Now, would you play Jimmy G if he was healthy?
No, but I would have a very, very short leash.
Ooh, okay. Will, Eagles or the field?
Eagles quarterback's better than both. So give me.
Would you play Jimmy G if he was healthy?
Nah, he can't ramp it up that quickly. He's not that kind of athlete.
Okay. Robert, Eagles or the field?
Eagles.
Would you play Jimmy G if he was healthy?
Is he really better than Brock Purdy? I think that the way they have treated him indicates that they don't think so.
All right. And I'm going to go with the Eagles just because I went to Lincoln for a semester, so I can kind of claim, Philadelphia. And I would not play Jimmy G. And 49ers are going to have some problems this offseason regardless. Because if this kid wins, and NFL defensive coordinators are like the smartest people in the world, they're going to get all this tape on this kid, and they're going to invest in this 7th-round draft pick, and they're going to be like the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA in the bubble, thinking they're good, and then they're not good at all. So, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, and our cavalcade of stars, thank you for this half live, half tape, watch the game as we tape show. And I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you again, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care. Thank you, fellas.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.